This console generation has been all about Sony. Like Sony has really kind of mopped the floor with Xbox. I think part of it came from Xbox launching way too confident. I mean, they came off the heels of the Xbox 360. The Xbox 360 was just a phenomenon, a force to be reckoned with. And then they brought out the Xbox One, and they kind of shoehorned in all of this stuff that nobody really wanted. And when people asked, are we going to be able to buy a version of the Xbox One that doesn't have all this other stuff that we don't want, then Microsoft foolishly said, well, that's what the Xbox 360 is for. And a lot of us didn't really like that, and because of that, a lot of people ended up going with the PlayStation 4 instead, myself included, although I waited until much longer in order to do that. So, how do I want to phrase this? Microsoft was kind of, at the beginning, they just kind of got left behind for a really long time, it seemed like. And they're slowly trying to catch up, but I think it's too late for them. Sony has clearly come out on top this console generation, and because of that, they are being really, I don't know, power hungry, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. I don't like how they're behaving, but this is a Nintendo show. Why am I talking about that? Well, here's the thing that we have to keep in mind. Nintendo does not exist in a bubble, as much as Nintendo seems to think that they do. So, in order for us to look at what's going on with Nintendo, we have to look at the other things. But I assure you, I'm coming to the point here. There have been rumors flying around for a bit now. Rumors that Microsoft and Nintendo have been in talks. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. They're in the same city, for crying out loud. They're practically across the street from each other. And Microsoft and Nintendo have been talking for quite a long time, it seems like. And it seems like they've decided to team up against Sony. And this kind of brings us back to what happened during the PS3 and Xbox 360 era. Back then, Microsoft came out with the campaign, why don't you get a Wii 360? Or I don't know if it's really a campaign. It was just something that one of the higher ups at Microsoft had said, look, you want to stay away from Sony, get a Wii, get a 360, and you'll pretty much be covered with all of the games. And it seems like Microsoft is kind of doing that again. I talked about this a few episodes ago. I don't remember exactly when, but Microsoft had announced this XDK, which was going to allow them to work with things like Android and iOS and also the Nintendo Switch. And I speculated that possibly that means that, could Xbox Live be coming to the Nintendo Switch, which would make a lot of sense because Nintendo's bad at services like that, and Microsoft is really great at services like that. If we fast forward a little longer, we get to February 13th. And on February 13th, Nintendo announced that, what's the name of the game? Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, was coming to the Nintendo Switch, which was a pretty big surprise to, I think, myself, including a lot of other people. A lot of people were surprised about that. And I found it pretty surprising anyway. So now the rumors are starting to go bananas because, of course, I have to point out that all rumors should be taken with a grain of salt. That's a very important thing to say. But this rumor is really exciting to me. And the reason that this rumor is really exciting to me is because I am a huge fan of these two games. The first one is Ori and the Blind Forest. Now, if you've never played Ori and the Blind Forest, it is this really cool Metroidvania style game where you are this weird fox-looking thing, and it's a 2D platformer, and you can jump and they stop time, and then point a direction and then shoot off in that direction. It's really, really fun. And Ori and the Blind Forest is rumored that it's going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch. And the reason why that's such a big deal is because that game is actually a Microsoft exclusive. It's only available on PC and Xbox One. Another game that is only available on PC and Xbox One would be Cuphead. Cuphead is, oh my God, what an amazing game. This is one of my favorite games the year that it came out. I can't remember what year it came out, but it's one of my favorite games from that year. And I think it was 2015, maybe 2016. It's got a gorgeous art style that reminds me of 1920s-ish Mickey Mouse cartoons. Those old kinds that I didn't grow up with them. Keep in mind, I'm not quite that old, but like I grew up watching them in rerun, that kind of thing, like on the Disney Channel and stuff like that. And they just had such a cool art style to them that kind of fell away and fell out of favor. And Cuphead kind of brought that back and made it like really, really cool again. And I expected to see more cartoons like that, but I haven't. But basically, Cuphead is this cool side-scrolling game where it looks like an old 1920s cartoon. The music is awesome. Everything about that is aesthetically just amazing. It's also incredibly hard. That is a really, really difficult game. Really fun, though, and I highly recommend it. And there's a rumor that as well, another Microsoft Xbox One or PC exclusive is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, I own both of those games on PC, but I really don't play PC games anymore. And I gotta say that if these games come to the Switch, I might have to go ahead and buy them again. Damn it. Although I didn't buy Cuphead. Cuphead was given to me by a listener who, I still owe them a high five. But that's such a great game. I had so much fun with it. I highly recommend that you check out both of those games if you have access. If it comes to the Switch, then play it on the Switch, because being able to take these with you is going to be awesome. But if it does not come to the Switch, if all of these rumors that I'm talking about fall apart, then those are two games that you should find a way to play because they're just so good. Okay, more rumors are happening here, though. That's not where it ends, because now we're getting these more rumors that it's possible that Microsoft will bring Halo, Gears of War, and Forza to Nintendo Switch. Now, Forza, maybe like one of the older versions. I mean, racing games are often used to show off the ability that a game console has to like push pixels. You know what I'm talking about? And like those racing games are generally super, super pretty. Okay. So the idea of Forza coming to the Switch, I find that to be a little rocky. I'm not quite sure about that, but an old Halo game, or maybe like a Halo trilogy or a Halo series where you box them all up and sell them as one thing. Same thing with Gears of War. That would be really cool, especially because I played a little bit of the very first Halo because my roommate had an Xbox, like the original OG Xbox with the Duke controller that you needed a forklift to pick up, and the thing was just massive. Like he had one of those, and we played a little bit of split screen Halo, just trying it out, but I never really got into it, and I didn't have it on the Xbox 360. I really don't know why. I think I was still prejudiced against the idea of playing a shooter with a controller like this, with a controller instead of a mouse and keyboard. That's not something that I ever wanted to do. I was a mouse keyboard guy, and now my tune has changed. Like this morning, I was playing a little bit of Apex Legends after my workout, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'll try it on the PC. And I sat down, WASD, hand on the mouse, and trying to, oh my God, it was a disaster. I couldn't run or and crouch and stuff. I just couldn't do it. It was outside of my control. I've been playing games on console for far too long. And then before that, I used a Logitech G13 when playing PC games. So WASD is something I've not done in like a billion years, it feels like. So, I mean, God, it has to have been at least 5 years since I've done WASD in a game. So, that's beside the point. Halo, Gears of War, Forza, rumors coming to Nintendo Switch. There's also rumors. I mean, this is a lot of rumors, guys. There's also rumors that Xbox Game Pass will be coming to Nintendo Switch. And if you don't know what that is a way for you to basically stream games to whatever system that you're playing on in order to have access to games that you normally wouldn't have access to. So if you've got like this crappy PC, you can use Xbox Game Pass. It's a subscription service. And not only that, but like Xbox has been really, really nailing the subscription service with Game Pass because they've been launching a lot of their first party games on that. So it's really fantastic what Microsoft may be doing here. However, there's no T in Forza, says Lawworthy. Forza, sorry. I don't know how to say things. I don't play that game. I don't like racing games like that. I like Mario Kart. I like ridiculous racing games. So these games coming to the Nintendo Switch along with Xbox Game Pass would be amazing. Now, there are people out there who would instantly ask, and obviously Gary Gizmo in chat here says, do you think this will be a one-way street, or will Nintendo also let some of their games be played on Xbox? All right. Here's the deal. It makes perfect sense for Microsoft to do this because Microsoft sells the Xbox One and Xbox One S and Xbox One X and Xbox One XL, XO. It sells that machine at a loss. Every single time they sell one of those machines, they lose money. And that's okay because where do they make their money? They make their money on the services. They make their money on selling their first party games. They make their money kind of getting people in the ecosystem. Having an account with Xbox helps Microsoft. Okay? When Nintendo sells a Nintendo Switch, they make a little bit of money. The only time that Nintendo has ever sold a system at a loss has been during the Wii U era. And I think we all know that Nintendo has learned from their mistake, although that's not the reason that, you know, that thing over my shoulder right there, that's not the reason that the price, not the price, the not selling at a loss is not what caused the Wii U to fail. It was horrible marketing and just poor third-party support. So Nintendo makes their money on selling hardware and on selling software, and Nintendo is incredibly protective of their intellectual property. They always have been, and I'm 99% sure that they always will be. As long as Nintendo makes hardware, you are not going to see their software on other platforms other than platforms like your phone. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, does it make sense for Microsoft to partner with Nintendo here? Absolutely. This makes sense for Microsoft to put their stuff on Nintendo because it opens up a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of potential customers to Microsoft. A bunch of people who don't have an Xbox, and there's a lot of people who don't have an Xbox. There's a bunch of people out there with no Xbox and no reason to give Microsoft money. And I think that those people have already decided, I'm not going to buy an Xbox. If they were going to buy an Xbox, they probably would have bought one by now. So those are people that Microsoft cannot possibly monetize unless they partner with Nintendo and kind of find a way to those wallets and pockets and purses and bank accounts. Like, that's pretty brilliant, because again, if Microsoft sells them an Xbox, Microsoft loses money. But if Microsoft just gets them to subscribe to their stuff and sells a couple of games, they're making money. So this kind of deal makes so much sense for Microsoft. It really does. Why would Nintendo do this? Well, Nintendo would do this because their subscription, their services don't really compete with Xbox. They just don't. There's no competition there. Nintendo is giving you access to online and selling you old stuff, and every once in a while, hopefully they continue to do this, throwing in a game like Tetris 99. With Microsoft, they have this voice chat and communication features and a subscription service that allows you to have day one games from Microsoft first-party stuff, or Microsoft published stuff, if that makes sense. So while this makes all the sense in the world for Microsoft, it also makes sense to Nintendo, because that's a bunch of new games that are now available to their customers. And if you had sitting in front of you an Xbox One and a Nintendo Switch, and they both had access to mostly the same games, but on the Switch you had a bunch of first-party stuff, and you could take it with you for the low price of having slightly reduced graphics, is that a choice at all? I mean, you would go with the Switch. At least I would. Of course, I'm biased. I do Nintendo Switchcraft. So anyway, I think that this is a very interesting rumor, but it is, of course, just a rumor, and that's one thing that we that we have to keep in mind, that this is not set in stone. This is not something that's definitely going to happen. It's just a rumor, and I look forward to the future when we can play whatever game we want on whatever system we want. But until that happens, we'll just have to continue to wait.